Oh yes, fabulous, fabulous stuff. The night we were waiting for, the night the team came of age. John McGinley, I'm so happy. I'm going to have a wee Red Bull.
Oh, nice.
I was expecting a better reaction than that, John. Come on.
Sorry. I'm just... I'm actually caught up in tonight and you know, the way Celtic have played, and I'm so excited and buzzing. I was just thinking, you know, how am I going to start this video? What am I going to talk about? I mean, this is just going to be half an hour of us just falling over ourselves to praise what we witnessed tonight in the context of this season, in the context of the last 10 years, in the context of one or two of the players who had, you know, real star performances. We could go anywhere with this discussion. So where do you want to start? Because, you know, obviously I've got lots of excited thoughts just bursting to get out of me at the moment.
Yeah, a difficult night for us both to have the first say. So why don't neither of us have the first say? Why don't we pass over to a certain other man?
Get in, man. What a night. What a performance, mate. Look where I am. Well, you know where I am. It's a dead giveaway, but I'm here. So... it's at the media bit in the mix zone. Some of the Leipzig guys and the Celtic players all coming out. Celtic players taking a lot longer, and don't blame them after a night like that. I've not been able to speak to anyone though. Bit of a disorganised mess, but I won't criticise Celtic. I'll leave the criticism there, and I'll just gush with praise for how amazing that was tonight. Honestly, marvellous night at Celtic Park. I think the most controlled performance I've seen since Benfica 2006 3-0 game. It was up there with the Lyon 0-3 as well. Just 90 minutes of total control. I mean, you had that 10-minute spell when Leipzig scored and then it looked as if they make it 2-0. But I think the team deserves so much credit for how they recovered from it, Hamish. I thought the team were marvellous with regaining composure, and that Nicolas Kuhn goal to sort of composes again, that was just so key. I think there was a major moment as well later in the second half at 2-1 with Kasper Schmeichel's fantastic save, because if Leipzig score there, that's maybe different and we don't get that third goal. But I thought that was just it actually looked like we actually belonged there tonight. That was what I was so proud of. I said to you in pre-season that I wanted to see us take Europe so seriously this season. I wanted Celtic Park to become a fortress. I wanted us to be hard to beat. And we were. We have been in the two games anyway. But most importantly, we have recovered for that Dortmund game. You're at the Atalanta one. We saw a different side to that Celtic team. They were more resilient. But tonight, you know, there was all these question marks about, will we go toe-to-toe with them? Is the template to just copy the Atalanta game again? And Brendan Rodgers and his side just went for it. They did go toe-to-toe. And at first I thought it was a mistake. But the Nicolas Kuhn goal just changed everything, and the way that Celtic responded after that was just nothing short of brilliant. Leipzig's heads well and truly sunk. Getting that goal at half time was so key too. And I was saying to our pal Lewis, like, the goal to make it 2-1, I was thinking, is the second half going to be like an onslaught like Atletico Madrid? But the second half performance I was really, really happy with. You know, they defended well, but they were so smart on the ball too. They went down when they needed to. Wasted time when they had to, but more importantly, they played their way out of danger very comfortably and very efficiently. And this is against a really good Bundesliga team who have got so much European experience, Hamish, and it fills me with so much confidence and encouragement for the games going forward. I really, you know, man for man, I guess we'll go through them. There was a moment first half when Dyson Maeda for Nicolas Kuhn's outstanding ball. When he blazed it over the bar, and I thought, oh no, we're going to end up like we're not going to recover for that, or that's going to be a turning point. But it was just good that we never let that miss define us, and we kept going. And a lot of that, you know, first half performance was down to Nicolas Kuhn, man. He was unplayable. One of the best performances I've seen. Like I remember growing up, Didier Aguirre terrorising like Porto, Rosenborg, Juventus, Barcelona at times too. But that was like raw power and pace. Nicolas Kuhn did that tonight with sheer technical ability alone, and his skill was just outrageous. That first goal without any backlift, the way that he gets that in past Galashi for there is sublime. You know, he took his second goal pretty well, but I think a lot of that's down to Hatate and the team and the pressing that they did. to reward ourselves and get him into that position. Second to none. Just I think with Kuhn, what's that meme again? What's that it says? I owe you an apology, I wasn't familiar with your game. His numbers this season have been outrageous, man, and I didn't see him having this impact. I remember we were doing a video in the summer there, sorry, I'm all over the place here, but no wonder. Brain's frazzled for that performance, so you can cut me a bit of slack here. But I remember saying it's pre-season against Man City, he's done well, but let's see how he goes, in the big dog games. This was the biggest of dog games, and Nicolas Kuhn turned up and he was unplayable, and he had that left back for Leipzig on toast. It was just magnificent, and it's at the point now where I think he could very well be turning out to be Brendan Rodgers' ultimate winger that he's had on his side, eclipsing and surpassing the likes of Sinclair and even Jota and Durange. Honestly, we'll see where we are at the end of the season, but I think Nicolas Kuhn's already on the way there now, mate. I don't really know what else to say other than even guys like Engels, who looked as if he was suffering big time after Dortmund. I thought Engels was outstanding tonight, and came off to a standing ovation. Reo Hatate carried on again after that Aberdeen's match at the weekend. Phenomenal display. I could go on and on. The team deserves so much credit. Brendan Rodgers deserves so much credit, and he's got his believing again after that Dortmund match, when I think we already saw high, and I thought it was just going to be us limping on after that, but we're back at it again. We've got a massive result, really big performance, and Celtic Park was rocking again, and hopefully I just wanted us to be hard to beat in the games against Bruges and Young Boys as well. If we can get through them. Oh wait, there's a player. Who's that? It's Austin Trusty. I might go down and speak to him, see if I can, right? But the one thing is, I wanted Celtic Park to be a place that was hard to go for opposition teams again, and hopefully we can get there again, and it's looking like we can after those two performances. But look, the big man's there. It's my turn to talk to him soon. I'll send you this video. Sorry for all the muttering. On a total high. Talk to you shortly.
And we have absolutely no idea what Stevie said, but it was probably something bang on, John. He even Stevie can't have been finding any gripes with that. I mean, genuinely, let's start with where it ranks in recent years, because there's not many better Champions League performances and results than what we saw tonight.
Listen, again, we don't know what Stevie said. Stevie's a guy who wears his heart on his sleeve, and so when he, over the seasons and the years when he's come out and criticised Celtic after European performances, it's all been because we've been waiting on something like this, because this is the potential of Celtic in this competition. This is what, like you said at the start, this is what we've been waiting for. This is a level of performance that Celtic should be capable of, and tonight showed that they are capable of. And any criticism that's come Celtic way in Europe over the years, we've spoken about it so many times on various shows, podcasts, all sorts. What do we want Celtic to be in Europe? What do we want to see from Celtic in Europe? Tonight is the new benchmark in this generation of being a Celtic supporter. This is a new benchmark that Celtic have set tonight, that they can take on one of the better teams in Europe and not scrape through the game, just outclass them and outrank them back to front and take them apart in many ways on a fair few occasions. And for me, that's why it ranks so high. This ranks for me way. We had massive result against Barcelona. You can't take that away from Neil Lennon. We had massive results under Gordon Strachan. You can't take that away from Gordon Strachan. But there was few dominant performances. Tonight was a dominant performance, I felt. We fully deserved that win, and for me, it harkened back to more like the days of Martin O'Neill than any other era, where Celtic just went toe-to-toe with a really good team in Europe, fully deserved the win, and just showed their quality in every department. And we'll talk about the individuals along the way, but just as a team performance, I just thought it was just superb.
I think you're right to bring that up, because there's two parts to it. Obviously, the first thing is the result. Celtic 3, RB Leipzig 1 is an incredible result. It's a fabulous result, and the result itself may be the best result we've had, certainly in the Champions League since Barcelona, probably, because we've not had too many. But that's the result. There's also, as you say, the performance, and I mean we kind of both kind of grew up through a period where Celtic were winning these home Champions League games more often than not, but a lot of the time, very rarely would Celtic win playing like that. Certainly not in the kind of Gordon Strachan, Neil Lennon days. It was a different way to win. I don't remember the O'Neill days as much, but actually see tonight, seeing Celtic perform like that and get the win and like move the ball around and pass Leipzig off the park at times and play out through pressure when they pressed us, but also when we didn't have the ball, win the ball back. I sat grinning through that second half. At times, there was a period, you'll remember, a 5-10 minute period where the football was incredible. Celtic Park was jumping, and I personally have waited so long to see Celtic play like that and also get the result at that level.
And how many times have you been? Because these games at this level, the whole 90 minutes rarely goes your way. And it didn't tonight. There was a period in the game where it was difficult and we had to dig in a little bit and we had to weather a little bit of a storm. But how many times have we seen Celtic kind of wilt under that pressure or wilt under that, a team coming into the game, building themselves into the game, and Celtic just kind of collapsing a little bit? Tonight, Celtic didn't collapse. They came back into it with individual brilliance. And then in the second half, like you said, I just felt it was stitched together, a complete team performance. The individual stars of the night are obviously Kuhn and Hatate, and everyone will rightly laud them. But from, stitching together a team performance, I just thought Callum McGregor was just outstanding in a captain's role, especially in that second half. You could see him make the right decisions in every aspect when he was on the ball, out of possession. You could see him direct and play consistently. He was all over the pitch. He was ambitious moving forward. He was so careful, but, effective in possession. And it was just outstanding. Outstanding from him and from Kuhn and Hatate, like we'll touch on in a moment. But, that is superb.
Right, match stats. I know you wanted to discuss a wee bit, and by the way, I find match stats quite misleading sometimes. Look at the third one there. Big chances 2 to 4. I don't remember Leipzig's 4 big chances, and I feel like we had more than 2. But anyway, that's whoever comes up with these stats. But you wanted to touch on, I think the XG, which again is maybe a little bit different. The XG varies from outlet to outlet. But pretty dominant in most of those stats, if not all of them.
Yeah, notably, Leipzig's XG was predominantly, a large chunk of it was from their set pieces, from that flurry of set pieces in the first half where they were kind of firing a lot of corners into the box that Celtic, did look a bit shaky in dealing with, including, obviously the goal that Leipzig scored. But in open play, I never felt like they ripped us open or ripped us apart. Obviously, Schmeichel had a couple of, one particular excellent save and another really good save that you would want him to make, at this level. But I never felt like Leipzig really, tore this defence apart in the way that you would expect a top team in European that have done so many times. We've played at home or away in the last 5 or 6 years. And I just thought Celtic deserved the win tonight because Celtic were better in every respect. I felt they were better in almost every single position, and Celtic did cut Leipzig over for me on a fair few occasions, and arguably should have had another goal or two. If things fall into place for us on another night, we could have had another goal or two. That's how good we were tonight. And we've just set ourselves up for just such an exciting season in this competition. Everyone was talking about the revamped competition, the revamped tournament. What does it mean for Celtic? Well, this is it. We're seeing it. We've got a pretty good draw. We've managed to come through 3 of our toughest 4 games on paper with 7 points from 4 matches. With that really hard game away to Aston Villa to come, and obviously other games are challenging in their own aspects too. Dynamo Zagreb are having a great season in this tournament too. But you're looking at the next 4 games, we've already got 7 points. We need 3 to get into the top 24. And suddenly, and I'm aware that I'm talking fast and excitedly here, but that's just how excited I am about all this. But suddenly, the conversation's switching from Celtic scraping into the top 24 somehow to pushing up as far as possible between top 24 and 9th. And, getting as good a draw as possible in this top 24 knockout round that feeds into the last 16. That's what the conversation is turning
we're
to.
getting greedy, aren't we? We're getting greedy.
But that's
maybe we should be. Maybe we should be.
But that's, obviously I would take Celtic scraping 3 points however they come over the next 4 matches. I'm not naive in that respect, in the sense that this is still Celtic in Europe and let's see it over the course of the entire 8 games. But you can feel the conversation shifted, and I think it's deservedly shifted based on the performances. And
that's the points there, by the way, John, just to clarify for everyone.
Yeah, based on the performances and the results so far. You look there, 10 points. And this is at the start of the season, 10 points, 99% chance of qualifying for the top 24. And I think, pushing up between top 24 and 9th, if we can get closer to 9th than to 24th, then suddenly, you could arguably have a more favourable draw in that top 24 knockout phase. So that's what the teams are setting their sight on now. That's what we're setting our sight on. And it's so exciting.
Massively exciting. Listen, we'll chat a bit more about the game because we've not really done that yet. I thought you talk about us cutting through Leipzig, and we did that pretty much from the first minute. We had that Engels chance that was blocked, and at that point, right away, you're thinking, right, Celtic fancy this. But the thing was, Leipzig then went up the other end after that and created a half-decent chance. So you kind of thought it was going to be one of those games. And I thought generally as the first half went on, first 15, 20 minutes, we were pretty good. I thought we were dominating the ball with possession. We were winning the ball back quickly. And then Leipzig had their time in the game, probably for the next 15 minutes maybe. The corners were a big threat. I think all of them were giving us the fear. They scored from one of them. They had one headed just past the post, and it feels a very kind of different time and hard to remember what it was like. But we were staring down another one of those nights in Europe. I'm not saying that Leipzig were going to thump us, but they were 1-0 up, and Celtic Park was a bit subdued. And I mean, I've got a stat here, John, that was doing the rounds at the time. We'd lost 27 of the last 28 Champions League matches when we'd conceded first. And I was looking back, I think Gladbach away was the other one where we didn't lose, but we drew that one. So when Celtic concede first prior to tonight, last 28 times we conceded first, we've lost 27 of those matches. So again, that sums up the effort. Why was it different tonight? Well,
I think, when you're at this elite level, you need a strong team performance. But when the flow of the team performance has gone against you a wee bit, and everyone's suddenly getting a bit edgy and just focusing on clearing your lines, it takes a lot of guts and effort to get back into the game and start dominating the game again. And sometimes it takes individual magic, and I think you need that individual brilliance, and that's effectively what dragged us back into the game was Nicolas Kuhn's absolutely outrageous goal, one of the best Champions League. That'll go down as one of the best Champions League goals that Celtic have scored this century. Outrageous, just audacious, and so nonchalant as well. The guy's so nonchalant. Like what
Did
gets
you see his post-match interview?
Yeah,
and he was giving like 3-word answers and stuff.
I would love to know what gets Nicolas Kuhn's heart rate up, because scoring a worldie in front of a sold-out Celtic Park didn't seem to tonight, because he's just so calm, so composed, so just such a neutral mindset. And again, that gives suddenly Celtic are back on it and really pushing Leipzig. And the moment before half-time where we scored the second goal. Now, I said this earlier, but on Twitter, I said that's a goal that Celtic have conceded so often in Europe, in the sense of another team pressuring us and forcing us into a defensive mistake. What comes across as a defensive howler. From a Leipzig's perspective, that's a horror goal for them to concede. It's from a goal kick. But they push the goal kick out to their left flank. Celtic press, push, force them back over to the right-hand side, and suddenly we're just hunting them in packs, and we trap them. We trapped them on their right flank. There was 4 or 5 players involved, just absolutely desperate to get that ball, nick it back. Quick footwork, quick passing. Suddenly we're in, and nice thought from Hatate, Greg Taylor involved, and Kuhn in the middle again. But hunting them in that pack, trapping them in that pressing game was fundamental to that goal, obviously, and that's just something that we've seen against us so often. And to see Celtic now execute that at the highest level is so satisfying. That's exactly what we need to be doing to these teams. And you saw everything that Brendan Rodgers is trying to instill in this team in that phase of play, in the sense of hard work, industrious work, physical work, not shying away from the battle, and then having the quality and the composure to finish that off. That's what you need to do in Europe. That's the difference between the teams who are good teams, who have no points in this competition, i.e. Leipzig, and the way Celtic are flying in this competition with 7 points. You need to take these moments. You need to execute in these moments, and that's what Rodgers has this team doing. So again, another long-winded answer from me, but the you asked what changed the game, and those are the things for me. Just that moment of individual brilliance, and then that sparking another team effort, into getting Celtic ahead into this match. And in the second half, just the most composed and professional performance that Celtic have produced in Europe for a generation.
The way we won that ball back wasn't a one-off either. We did that a number of times in the first half. I thought our pressing was spot on tonight. It wasn't gung-ho, but also we kind of picked our moments to really go after Leipzig. And as I say, there was like 4 or 5 examples even prior to that in the first half where we won the ball back quickly. And I think that was a huge part. Obviously, the stuff we did on the ball, the brilliant Kuhn goal, Hatate, McGregor, that's the stuff people will probably really talk about. But I thought our ability to win the ball back tonight quickly was great. And it just it just sums up what I've been saying. I know you feel the same way, how different things are at Celtic Park. I think you can do that at Celtic Park when the crowd is right on top of the opposition. It's a bit harder away from home. But, 3 consecutive Champions League home wins now as well, first time since 2007. So I'm not saying we're getting back to Celtic Park being a complete fortress. I still think it's never going to get back to the stage it was at the start of the century. Different times these days, but it's a good run we're on now. And you look at 2 more games that seem winnable at Celtic Park coming up. Hatate for that second goal was brilliant. The composure that he showed. Greg Taylor was fabulous, and the fact Kuhn's even there at the back post is brilliant, following it in. Kuhn's a hell of a player. I actually thought he started the game quite slowly, and he was kind of giving up possession a wee bit easily, and he maybe had to hold on to it. But from about half an hour onwards, that's as good as a performance as I think you're going to see from a Celtic attacker at Champions League level. I mean, he was running past Leipzig players. They couldn't deal with him at all. And what has he been called in the media, John, in Germany? They're taking it well.
German no-name professional embarrasses Leipzig. I think that translates roughly to, which they're taking it well then, aren't they? Glad to see they're taking it well. But, I mean, Kuhn's proven a point tonight. Kuhn's made it quite clear what he wants to achieve at Celtic. He wanted to play and perform well in the Champions League, and he wanted to push himself into potential recognition in terms of the international scene with Germany, which is a tall order, of course, given the quality of German squad. But he stated that as his ambition, so he's doing what he needs to get towards that. There's no doubt about that at all. Now, we said in the summer, we had this conversation between the two of us on here, that what Celtic needed was a winger who can make a difference, a winger who has the X factor. And I don't know, there was obviously signs of that in pre-season from Kuhn, but nobody really knew whether he had that to have that sustained X-factor presence in that Celtic attack, and obviously now he does from these early stages of the season. Like you say, a hell of a player, just so thrilling to watch. He's a player now who there's just great anticipation every time he has the ball, and we lost that when Jota went for that mega money to Saudi Arabia. That's what Jota left with. He left that anticipation, that excitement when the winger receives the ball, what are they going to do with it? And Kuhn now has that about him. You can feel the energy, you can feel people. You just feel it. As soon as the ball hits his feet, what's he going to do with it? He's going to try and make something happen here. And more often than not this season, he's making it happen, and full credit to him, because just an outrageous performance tonight. And it's not a one in isolation. He's done this consistently now over the last few months. So let's see, if he can do it over the next few months, he's going to be an absolute superstar. He already is a superstar at Celtic, but he's going to just take his reputation to new heights that he's never experienced before in his career, because a night like tonight was special from him.
I've just remembered a magic Kuhn moment as well. First half, the pass for Maida outside of the foot.
Oh, I mean, it's crazy that a moment like that is almost forgotten in the context of the entire 90 minutes. But that, fantastic. And Hatate had one or two of those moments as well.
And the one in the second half where he skins the guy and then fizzes it. Oh my God!
Just on Hatate, I think he gets. I think fans sometimes get frustrated by him because sometimes what he tries doesn't come off, but he's in that midfield to do the job that he's doing. He's not in that midfield to consistently recycle the ball sideways. He's in that midfield to provide that cut and pass that puts a defence on the back foot, that I know you've called for consistently over the last few years. We need someone who can turn a defence at this level and make them fearful of a forward ball, and Hatate does that. Every time he has the ball, he's constantly looking forward and constantly looking what he's trying to do. We had a sensational balance in the midfield tonight, in the sense of we had that Hatate is that dynamic, forward-thinking, risk-taking midfielder who's going to try things, and he's going to have a lower pass completion percentage than other players because of it, but he's going to try and provide that real danger. We had Engels running all over the pitch, putting in the legwork and the miles to provide a really energetic performance, I thought. Engels was looking pretty good tonight. And then we had McGregor, who was just so composed and making decisions on and off the ball that just kept Celtic ticking. So that balance across those three things, having those three things in the same midfield, performing at a peak level, is what won Celtic the game tonight for me. And fantastic. And Hatate is obviously a massive part of that. Backing up his weekend performance with arguably his best ever performance in a Celtic shirt tonight.
He protects the ball so well, and he's so calm under pressure. I felt, first half we had a lot of possession and we were moving the ball nicely, and some of the football we played was lovely, but I just felt in the first half we were just lacking that kind of incisive pass. I felt a lot of it was side to side rather than just finding that incisive pass, and I think a big part of that was the way Leipzig set up. They were happy to allow us to have the ball a lot of the time and resolute, but I felt in the second half when they were behind, and obviously they were really chasing it because they needed not one goal but they needed two at that stage to win the game. I felt the gaps opened up, and I felt then some of the football we played, see some of the stuff like around the corner, the gaps we were finding, just able to penetrate the lines. Hatate, McGregor, Engels, Bernardo when he came on was doing that as well. Like some of the football was just joyous in that second half. And
that's a result of the way the first three games went for us, giving us a platform to grow into this competition. I think you sense the desperation from Leipzig tonight. They really needed a result tonight because they have no points. They had a really difficult set of opening fixtures, and they were coming to Celtic Park with the expectation of winning, because that's what Marco Rose has done against us. They had an expectation of getting a result tonight, and you could sense that panic, especially when we scored just before half-time. The way they came out in the second half, they were a little bit shell-shocked for me, and Celtic just looked comfortable and composed, like they had no worries in the world at all on their shoulders, and that's a result of banking the 4 points that they had before kick-off tonight. They had those 4 points in the back. They came out in that second half and just played with an absolute freedom and comfort that you rarely see from Celtic in Europe. And I think that, so we'd set ourselves up for tonight and really, again, like I said, executed really well. But you could sense that desperation off them, and there was none of that really, apart from that 10-15 minute from Celtic in the first half where we were kind of fielding corners and set pieces. Celtic just looked so comfortable tonight.
They had that one chance in the second half where Schmeichel made a really good save down to his left. I think Valle had just come on at that stage and probably just kind of getting into the game and was just a little bit off it for that. But a great save. But other than that, I just felt we kept kind of getting better as the game went on, and that's not always been the case with Celtic in these Champions League games. That was a big thing for me at half-time. Thought it was a great effort from the team to turn that deficit into a lead at half-time, but we had the lead against Atletico Madrid this time last year, same lead 2-1, and we fell away big time in the second half. And you can have a discussion over whether Atletico are a better team than Leipzig, etc. They possibly are a little bit, but I thought it was a big difference in Celtic, and you saw how far we've come on in the last year. Number one thing, the subs we're bringing on now are so much stronger than they were a year ago. The team's stronger, but the subs are stronger as well. And like Bernardo came on tonight and just looked brilliant, and Vai came on, and once he got to grips with it, was great. And Yang looked unbelievable. I'm expecting bids for Yang in the morning, because that move we had, well, the quick passing, I was like, who is this guy? But yeah, the subs we made, but also I just think we're more disciplined now at that level than we were last season, and were under Postecoglou as well. And part of that may just be that this team has grown at that level. I always remember Ange saying, to really succeed at this level, you need to be in the competition every year. And I think we're starting to see the benefits of experience for these players at the competition. They know that they need to pace themselves a little bit and have a bit more control in the game, because we tired like mad last season in all of the games, really. Lazio at home, we tired badly. Atletico at home, the away games, very different this season, I would say.
Yeah, well, I mean, what did we say a few weeks ago? The best teams show adaptability in matches. And I think even tonight, we saw evidence of that from Celtic. Like that period that Leipzig had the better of the ball and were looking pretty good. Celtic did get narrower. They did, they were more restrictive with their clearances. They weren't trying to pass it out. The defence at that point, arguably, if you're a really elite side, you do it. You do that throughout an entire 90 minutes. But realistically, with the players that Celtic have, sometimes they just need to weather a little bit of a storm. And you saw Hatate clear his lines. You saw other players just clear the lines, get into a narrow, organised formation, and just kind of restrict Leipzig through that moment, knowing that it is a long game. It's not a... the points aren't decided by half time. We still had lots in that game, even at 1-0 down. And so it was just about coming through that little period, showing a little bit more organisation, getting narrower, clearing your lines, etc., and then coming again. And I thought that was part of it tonight. I mean, even that period where you would say Celtic were Leipzig were on top, you're just seeing elements and bits from Celtic that are just an improvement on what we've seen in seasons gone by. Like you say, it's a change. There's been a change, and I don't know if it's belief. I don't know if it's just more practice at this. I don't know if it's key leaders in the team just growing into it a little bit more. As it's always been promised, with the we'll learn from this patter that we never seem to learn from. Is this Celtic now learning? Is the RBC and Celtic learning in front of our eyes? Is it finally coming to fruition? Is that what we're seeing here?
Do we, this time last year, that game 2-1 at half time, I don't think we go on and win it 3-1. I'm pretty sure Leipzig come back and at the very least score, because that's what we saw this time last year. So I think that there's definite evidence that the team are learning at this level. I know it was a mainly, I don't know, I'm going to say it was a mainly attacking performance. That's probably not true, but I do want to mention the defence. Kasper Schmeichel makes, I think, a couple of really good saves. The one I mentioned, there was another one, wasn't there, from the fella whose name I've forgotten, the forward.
He was outstretched to his right.
Sesko.
He was outstretched to his right. It wasn't quite as low as the one to his left that was, a better save, but he's still at full stretch and having to get strong hands on it. So, yeah, that's what you need, though, isn't it? You need your players in every position to have a good game. And from Schmeichel forward, I thought everyone had a good game, Like you say, the defence, Austin Trusty, excellent.
Yeah,
excellent.
Brilliant. Yeah, Trusty was excellent. So strong in the tackle, really comfortable left-hand side, playing it out to Taylor. I felt there was we really played out well through pressure.
You had that one moment, didn't you? The one moment that led to the corner that leads to the goal. But I mean, that again, you're going to get the odd moment here or there. But more, I just you look secure there alongside Carter Vickers, who. Carter Vickers is, still getting back to his very, very, very best. And that partnership just looks like it's going to be so strong for us if they can both stay fit and really build a partnership there with Scales coming in to provide relief in a rotation. That's a really good defensive three for us this season. And that's exciting to think about, that we can, again, then build on that, in future seasons. It's a good thought.
Yes. Just so much to be positive about. Joe Hart wasn't on my coverage because we had Martin Tyler commentating, which was a bit strange. Martin Tyler solo commentary, which was a bit of a drag, I'll be honest, but it seems like Joe Hart's getting raved reviews. Stevie's actually captured Joe Hart having a wee laugh with some of his former teammates and Gavin Strachan after the game. Here you go. Yeah, he's getting rave reviews, isn't he, John? People are liking Joe Hart. And the bits I heard after the game, he's really good as well, and he'll have loved watching that.
Yeah, you see this from players who have recently retired, where they're so ingrained into the mentality and the knowledge of the players that are still playing that they're just exceptional. I remember when Gary Neville burst onto the scene a few years ago. He was really, Gary Neville's obviously the most famous famous pundit in the UK right now, so I'm not saying that he's garbage or anything now, but I just feel like when he first burst onto the scene, and the same with Jamie Carragher when he first retired in that first 2 years, they just have a more intimate knowledge of the players on the pitch, and so the insight is just exceptional. And with Joe Hart specifically with the Celtic team, I think he knows those players so well. He knows the inner workings of what's going on at Celtic, and you can hear him almost talk the team through the game. He talk the team through how they're feeling about the game, what they're thinking about the game, what the mentality of the team is at specific moments. Even that moment where Trusty goes down in the first half and he's looking injured, Joe Hart's basically like, well, I'll let you into a little secret. If the players aren't, his teammates aren't too fussed about him going down, then he's probably okay. And again, he turned up okay in the end. So just little moments like that. He's a very insightful guy. Obviously, very passionate about Celtic, and yeah, great. I hope he's in the seat for all the European games from this point onwards. It seems like he's going to be now. I think he must miss the first two in place for Atalanta, and that should be him now, which is a benefit to us as supporters and to the media at large, I suppose. Yeah.
Just reading some comments from Brendan Rodgers that have just come out. So he's saying, it gives a real nice confidence for the team. I think we've discovered in the last two games that we can be really competitive. If you'd said after the Dortmund game that we would have got 4 points from Atalanta and Red Bull Leipzig, probably not too many people would have said we would have done that. But I think we've discovered that we can play at that level. So it's a great next step.
Yeah. And I don't know if I said this at the start, but it's been in my thoughts all night. Celtic belong at this level. Like that's what tonight showed me. Like, you can say the Dortmund game was obviously a disaster, and it's depressing. You're thinking, is this the same old? But I think Celtic have proven against Atalanta and Leipzig that we are a Champions League team, and teams have to take us seriously. And that's all you can really ask for. Results might go your way, some results will go against you, but what we've always desired is Celtic to be competitive and prove themselves that they're a viable Champions League team that can hold their own against the best teams in Europe. And we went away to Atalanta and got a really, credible draw. We outclassed Leipzig tonight. I genuinely think we went there, we were at Celtic Park and we've outclassed them. And that's a hard thing to do. And so let's see what we do against, the other four teams in the group. I love this format. I love that it's on we don't play these teams again. There's no chance for Leipzig to get revenge on us in Germany. No nonsense like that. We don't have to face Dortmund again. It's just four different teams upcoming. It's a different challenge, different set of circumstances, different players. It's a fantastic format, and I think Celtic are one of the teams that are benefiting from it most, which is fantastic.
Yeah, we're only halfway through as well, which is crazy to think. It feels like we've been in one hell of a journey so far, and we've only played half of the matches. So, yeah, we go into Club Brugge in the next game, and I think that's the point. The bit I heard from Joe Hart after the game, he was saying, like, don't get too carried away with this. It's there's still work to be done, and I think the team will absolutely feel that. And Club Brugge is clearly going to be a really tough game. They're a good side. They're going relatively well. I think they've got 3 points from 3 games. I don't know who they've got tomorrow night. So they'll have it. They're similar to us. They'll be looking at getting a top 24 spot. So that's going to be a tough game, and obviously Zagreb after that. So but they're not at the same level, these upcoming matches, certainly the next three, as the last three we've faced. I mean, we've played real top teams over the past 3 games, and I mean, 7 points after 4 games. I remember thinking 4 points after 4 games would be half decent. 6 would be unbelievable. 7's just out of this world. We're 13th in the giant table. Dino Zagreb just behind us. We might drop a little bit, I would think, tomorrow, given that the likes of Barcelona, Benfica, Atalanta just behind us. But
yeah, the wee teams in Europe now. The wee team starts in Europe.
There's quite a few big teams behind.
Yeah.
Like Atletico Madrid are behind us. Obviously Leipzig and Real Madrid behind us. Dear oh dear, Real Madrid, and they've played 4 games as well. They lost tonight.
It's just crazy though. It's just the way a couple of European results just brings alive your whole season. Like if you look at our like next 7 fixtures or so, we've got games away against Kilmarnock, away against Hearts, away against Aberdeen. You've got the Club Brugge game in there, and it just brings the whole season alive for a lot of supporters. Just having this extra edge, this extra credibility to how good this Celtic team are. It just brings the entire thing alive, and you can't wait to see Celtic play. I can't wait to see Celtic play again this weekend, and that the international break's going to kill me this month like no other month, because I just want to keep seeing the Celtic team again and again and again, and see if they can maintain all this and where they can go from here,
For me, the best performance since 2nd of February 2022 in the Rangers game. It was quite possibly better than that, but that was an unbelievable night. And we move forward, John, as you say. It's so exciting, and there's so many big games to come, and we're looking really good now for top 24. I mean, we're in a brilliant position, and if we manage to get top 24, that'd be a really good achievement and a really good step forward. So yeah, final thoughts and a wonderful night. I'd love to stay on for forever, but you probably need your bed, don't you? In fact, you'll be staying up for the election stuff, won't you?
Yeah, I'm one of those Egypts that stays up for elections, so I will be staying up to see what kind of craziness is going on over in America tonight. Final thoughts on Celtic is just essentially that this is the one that we've been waiting for. Like, just to bring it all back to the beginning, this is, like we said, a lot of people just ask, what is it we want to see from Celtic in Europe? What is it? This is the benchmark now. This is what Celtic, we know they can reach this level. We know they can do it against the top side who are desperate for a result. Leipzig really needed to win that game. There was, there's none of the usual caveats. So it's towards the end of the campaign. It doesn't really matter. Leipzig have half their team out. It's not that. Celtic were playing a good team, a pot 1 team, who
second in Bundesliga.
Yeah, second in Bundesliga, who spent about £60 million in the summer, have a host of expensive players who are sold on for riches far beyond even Celtic, although, it's not really about the budget, it's about the way Celtic go into these games, the attitude that they bring and the desire that they bring, and if that's there, then you can always excuse a bad result going against you. But when they show that and they show the quality that they have tonight and get the good result, it just all adds up to something very, very, very special. And hopefully we can have similar good nights like these. I'm glad I was on tonight. I know it's sometimes difficult doing this when you're on the back of a Dortmund result or something goes wrong against Rangers or another team. But to be on for this one, where I think that's probably the best Celtic performance for a number of years, is very satisfying. It's great to see stuff that the manager's been working on, the team have been working on, just come to fruition in a game of such importance. To the supporters as well. This is what we've been craving for so long, to have a team who can perform like this in Europe. So, yeah, fantastic.
I think for me, just really glad that the team have that marquee blockbuster win, because I've felt pretty much for all of this season that this is a really special Celtic team that we're witnessing. And I was really damaged by the Dortmund game. No, I wasn't alone in feeling that way, but really hyped the team up. And it was a bit of a sore one for me, for you, for Brendan Rodgers, for everyone. But I'm really glad that how they've reacted to that and getting that statement victory tonight. I think it backs up how we all feel about this Celtic team. The fact that they've gone and beaten a really, really good side, and not just beaten them, but kind of battered them and beaten them in every department. And I just think we're in for a hell of a ride over the next number of months, and Champions League knockouts pending. Potentially, we'll wait and see.
It's only November. The groups go on well into the new year, and then you're in February. I mean, we're going to be in Europe for the vast majority of the entire season, and that's incredible.
Okay, we'll head off. John, thank you for staying up and chatting. It's much appreciated. Big thanks to Stevie for sending in his thoughts from Celtic Park as well, and a big thank you to you for tuning in and watching this. I sense this is going to be a pretty big video views wise, so it would be an opportune time for me just to ask if you would mind subscribing to the channel. We're nearly at 11,000 subscribers, so if you're watching this or have just come across the channel, please consider subscribing, and you can get all of our videos as audio only podcasts as well. Let us know your thoughts in the game. I'll address them all and more tomorrow.